All right, let's have a straight conversation today. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just the truth about what it actually takes to turn this disease around. Because here's what I see it's happening. People get diagnosed, they get handed a prescription, a pamphlet, and a list of foods to avoid. And when they spend the next 10, 20, 30 years managing, watching their numbers creep into the wrong direction, wow, adding more medications, dreading their next A1C result, that's not dominating diabetes, that's surrendering to it 1 year at a time. I've had type 1 diabetes for 60 years and I'm not managing it. I have built a system around it, 5 pillars, 7 habits, all working together. And that system has kept me out of the complications that destroy most long-term diabetics. Today, I'm giving you that entire system, every habit, every pillar, the complete Dominate Diabetes blueprint, laid out so clearly that you can start building it today. This is the video I wish someone would have handed me along my 60 years of having this disease. So stay with me. If you're a type 2, this can help you really reverse that. Because what comes next could change the entire direction of your life.
The Dominate Diabetes system is built on 5 pillars. Each one attacks the disease from a different angle. Together, they create a lifestyle so metabolically powerful that your body has no choice but to respond. Let's go through every single one. Food is the foundation. Everything else in this system sits on top of what you eat, and the single most powerful dietary approach for blood sugar control, supported by decades of peer-reviewed research, is a whole food, plant-based, low-fat diet. Here is why it works at the cellular level. Insulin resistance, the root driver of high blood sugar in both type 1 and type 2 diabetes, is caused primarily by intramyocellular lipid, fat trapped inside your muscle cells that blocks insulin from doing its job. When you dramatically reduce dietary fat, especially saturated fat from animal products and processed oils, that intramyocellular lipid clears out. The insulin pathway opens back up. Blood sugar responds. The 4-food formula at the heart of this pillar is straightforward: starchy vegetables and whole grains, beans and lentils, whole fruits, and non-starchy vegetables. Every meal built from these 4 groups is high in fiber, low in fat, and designed to keep blood sugar stable from the first bite to the last. The research is clear. Dr. Neil Barnard's clinical trials showed a low-fat plant-based diet outperformed standard ADA dietary guidelines for A1C reduction without calorie restriction. What to eliminate? Animal products, added oils, processed foods, refined sugars, and anything that comes in a package with more than 5 ingredients. Not forever as a punishment, permanently as a system. For type 2 diabetics, this pillar alone has produced reversal, meaning A1C returning to non-diabetic range without medication in multiple clinical studies. For type 1 diabetics, it reduces insulin resistance so dramatically that insulin works more efficiently, blood sugar becomes more predictable, and A1C improves consistently over time. What you eat matters enormously. When you eat matters more than most people realize. The body's insulin sensitivity is not constant throughout the day. Research consistently shows it is highest in the morning and declines through the afternoon and evening. This means the same meal eaten at 7 in the morning produces a smaller blood sugar response than the same meal eaten at 8 at night. Front-loading your calories, eating your largest meals earlier in the day, aligns your food intake with your body's natural insulin sensitivity cycle. You get more metabolic work done with less blood sugar disruption. A study in diabetes care found that eating a large breakfast and smaller dinner improved A1C and fasting glucose significantly compared to the reverse pattern, even when total calories were identical. The practical framework for this pillar: eat within a consistent daily window. Aim for your first meal within 1 to 2 hours of waking. Make breakfast and lunch your primary meals. Keep dinner light and early, ideally finishing eating at least 3 hours before sleep. This gives your body time to process glucose before your overnight fast begins. Consistency is the key word here. Your metabolic system runs on a biological clock. Feed it at the same times every day, and it becomes predictable, stable, and efficient. Exercise is not optional in this system. It is not something you do 3 times a week when you feel motivated. It is a daily, non-negotiable. And here is exactly why. Skeletal muscle is the largest glucose-consuming tissue in your body. When your muscles contract, when they move, they pull glucose out of the bloodstream and use it for fuel. This happens through a pathway that is completely independent of insulin, meaning your muscles can clear blood sugar even when insulin resistance is high. This is one of the most powerful tools a diabetic has. A 30-minute walk after a meal can reduce the post-meal blood sugar spike by 30 to 50%. Not a drug, not a supplement, a walk. Research from George Washington University showed that 3 short 15-minute walks after meals lowered 24-hour blood sugar levels more effectively than one 45-minute walk taken at another time of day. The 2 movement habits that belong in this pillar are aerobic activity and resistance training. Aerobic activity, walking, cycling, swimming, clears glucose acutely and improves cardiovascular health. Resistance training, bodyweight exercises, light weights, resistance bands, builds muscle tissue, and more muscle tissue means more glucose disposal capacity around the clock, even at rest. You do not need a gym, you do not need expensive equipment. You need to move your body every single day with intention. 30 minutes minimum, more is better. And the time you spend in your workshop, your garden, your yard, that counts too. Movement and sleep are linked in the same pillar because they operate as a pair. You cannot out-exercise poor sleep when it comes to blood sugar control. During deep sleep, the body releases growth hormone that repairs muscle tissue and regulates cortisol. When sleep is shortened or disrupted, cortisol rises, insulin sensitivity drops, and fasting blood sugar climbs, even if you ate perfectly the day before. Studies show that just 2 nights of sleep deprivation can reduce insulin sensitivity by 25%. That is the equivalent of gaining over 20 pounds of body fat in terms of metabolic impact from 2 bad nights of sleep. The target? 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep in a dark, cool room. Consistent sleep and wake times. No screens for 30 minutes before bed. This is not optional maintenance. It is a core metabolic habit. This pillar is the one most people skip, and it is the reason most people fail. Managing diabetes is an identity. Dominating diabetes is also an identity. They are completely different ones, and which one you choose determines everything that follows. A manager waits for instructions, takes the prescription, follows the diet sheet, hopes the numbers improve, hands authority over their own body to someone else. An authority takes ownership, studies the science, builds the system, makes deliberate decisions based on understanding, not fear, treats their body as a project they are responsible for, not a problem they are waiting for someone else to fix. You are the CEO of your own health. Your doctor is a consultant. A consultant advises, but the CEO decides. Building the authority mindset means 3 things in practice. First, education. Invest time every week in understanding your condition at a deeper level. The more you know, the more confident and consistent your decisions become. Second, tracking. Keep a record of what you eat, how you move, and what your numbers do. Patterns become visible. Authority grows from evidence. Third, community. Surround yourself with people who are building the same system. Isolation breeds doubt. Community breeds momentum. Stress and mindset belong together because chronic stress is one of the most overlooked drivers of high blood sugar. When you are under stress, physical or emotional, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones trigger the liver to release stored glucose into the bloodstream. This is the ancient fight-or-flight response. Your body thinks you need fuel to run from a threat. The problem is, in modern life, the threat never goes away, and neither does the cortisol. Chronic stress means chronically elevated cortisol. Chronically elevated cortisol means chronically elevated blood sugar, independent of what you eat. You can follow this system perfectly and still see elevated A1C if your stress load is unmanaged. Daily stress management practices, 10 minutes of deep breathing, a walk in nature, time in a creative space, intentional rest, are not luxuries. They are metabolic medicine. Build them into the system the same way you build in meals and movement. You cannot dominate what you do not measure. This pillar is what turns the other four from intentions into a system. The metrics that matter in the Dominate Diabetes system are fasting blood glucose every morning, post-meal blood glucose at 1 and 2 hours after eating, weekly weight, and A1C every 3 months. These 5 numbers tell you everything about how your system is performing. Fasting glucose tells you what happened overnight, how your liver behaved, how your stress and sleep affected your baseline. Post-meal glucose tells you how specific foods and meals are affecting your blood sugar in real time. Weight tracks the broader metabolic trend. A1C is the quarterly report card, the average of everything over the past 3 months. What gets measured gets managed. What gets managed gets improved. Your numbers are not there to judge you. They are data points that tell you where to adjust the system. Keep a simple log. Paper, phone, spreadsheet, the format does not matter. What matters is consistency. When a number surprises you, high or low, look back at the previous 24 hours and find the cause. Food, sleep, stress, movement. One of those 4 shifted. Find it, adjust, and move forward. Over time, your log becomes one of the most valuable health documents you own. Patterns emerge. Your system gets smarter. Your authority grows deeper. And your A1C tells the story of a person who is not managing their diabetes, but dominating it. Here is what the complete Dominate Diabetes system looks like when all 5 pillars are running together. Every morning you wake at the same time, check your fasting glucose, and eat a whole food plant-based breakfast. Oats, fruit, beans. You move your body within 2 hours of your largest meal. You invest time in learning something new about your condition. You manage your stress with intention. You track your numbers and look for patterns. And you sleep 7 to 9 hours in a dark, quiet room because you understand that sleep is not rest, it is metabolic recovery. That is not a complicated life. That is a disciplined one. And discipline, run consistently over months and years, produces results that no prescription can match. For type 2 diabetics, this system has produced reversal. Real, documented clinical reversal. A1C back in the normal range, medications reduced or eliminated, complications avoided entirely. The research from Barnard, Esselstyn, Ornish, and McDougall proves it repeatedly. For type 1 diabetics, reversal is not the word, but domination is. Insulin working at maximum efficiency, blood sugar predictable and stable, A1C consistently healthy, a life lived fully, not in fear of a number.
All right, I know that was a lot. 5 pillars, 7 habits, a whole system laid out in one video. And I know what some of you are thinking right now. It's overwhelming. I don't know where to start. I've tried things before and they didn't stick. Here's what I want to say. This is what I want to say to that. You don't have to build all 5 pillars at once. You build them one at a time. The same way I built a house. You pour the foundation first. You don't put the roof on before the walls are up. Start with pillar 1. change the food, just the food, for 30 days. You'll be stunned by what happens to your numbers. If you're on medication or insulin, please be careful of that. You'll have to adjust. That win will give you the confidence to add pillar 2 and then 3. And before you know it, you have a system running and a body that is finally responding the way it was designed to. I've had this type 1 diabetes for 60 years. I built the system over a lifetime of learning, adjusting, testing on myself, figuring out what works and refusing to accept that managing was the best I could do. And every single day, these 5 pillars are why I'm standing here talking to you, healthy, active, and free of the complications that most people with my condition and my history never escape. You can do this. The science is on your side. The system works. All you have to do is build it. If this video gave you a clear picture of what's possible, subscribe right now, because every week I go deeper and deeper into every one of these pillars with the science, the food, and the practical tools you'll need to put them to work.